Hey, Inspired Tribe. How's it going? Welcome to the Inspired live stream here on the Inspired channel. My name is Jean Nolan, and this is my wonderful wife, Kristin Nolan.
Welcome, everyone.
We're excited that you're here. It is Thursday, March 31st. We just kind of chalk off another month, honey.
Time's flying.
Time is flying. First quarter is over of 2022. And Inspired Tribe, let's get one thing straight. We're healthy, wealthy, whole, and free. We're healthy, wealthy, whole, and free. We're excited that you're here. This has been the mantra for now 254, 55 live streams. And this continues to be very important. Today, every now and then, we got to go into the completely blow your mind sphere. And I'm going to explain in a minute here why it is important to go way out there, okay? We need to go way out there every now and then. That's what we're going to do today with one of the craziest conspiracy theories I've ever heard. And it just might very well, there might be something to it. So let's explore it together. But let me first, please, welcome you all here. I see Joanne is here. Good to see you. Karma.
It's her birthday today.
Joanne's birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Joanne. We're wishing you a wonderful and blessed and abundant and beautiful and joyous and happy and inspired day. Happy birthday. Angela is here. Welcome. I see Miss Patty is here. Welcome, Miss Patty. Then Casey is here. Peter, good to see you. I like peanut butter too, my friend. Then we have Nick Jones here. Good to see you. Peace, Lily. Wonderful. Love Unlimited. Wonderful to see you. Then we have Tomislav, good to see you. We have Greed, Alan, Robbie, Katie, the Graham, good to see you all. Essie, Stewart, Peter, Paul, welcome. Michael, good to see you. Sancho, then Raman, good to see you all. Denise, Crystal, let us know where you're tuning in from. And thank you for tuning in from everywhere. Before we dive into it, let me also thank you for everyone who's joined us on Locals. We are building a new community there. And I want to say three things about that. Number one, I think we're close to 1,000 new members there in just a few days. So thank you all so much for helping us make this transition. Second of all, when we say community, this is a community. We literally on Locals, we're building a little inspired community, a little inspired world there with you. But when we say with you, it means that we love to hear from you there, and you can post there within the inspired community, exchange things with each other, talk to each other, comment on each other's posts. It is a little inspired universe that we are building there, and we're excited that you're there with us. We also want to thank the supporters. The supporters are the paying members who either pay a monthly $5 or a one-time fee, or they pay $50 for a year. So that's a little bit of a discount there, $10 off. And thank you for supporting our work. It means so much to us. And we just want to express our gratitude. So please join today, because we're going to share exclusive, uncensored, unfiltered content there that we cannot share anywhere else. And that link is in top of the live chat. We pinned it up there, and it's of course in the description of this live stream. But now, without further ado, what's the craziest conspiracy theory I've ever heard of? This might not even qualify as technically a conspiracy, but it's the we're all dead conspiracy. And believe it or not, I realized this has been around for a while, but I never ever heard of it. We never ever heard of it. But it ties into a bigger picture that I wanted to talk about for weeks. And this is always so synchronistic. I've had this topic in my mind for weeks, walking with it, talking to Kristin about it, back and forth. And then this theory pops up and I go, this belongs together. Let's talk about it. So the we're all dead theory basically said that we all died simultaneously in 2012. Now, 2012, there was this whole thing with the Mayan calendar, misinterpretation as far as we see it. But let's let it stand for a while. We all died. And where we're all living right now is in a co-creative consciousness, because we all died at the same moment. And scientifically speaking, one thing happens after your heart starts beating, your brain is still active for about 7 minutes. And in those 7 minutes, you're apparently in a dreamlike state. You're in a, where memories and creations and dreams all come together. And of course, it only is measurable as 7 minutes to those who observe it, right? I mean, if you're a doctor observing the patient, you say, yeah, 7 minutes, and then the brain shuts off. But if you're in it, 7 minutes might seem like 7 years, 100 years. It might seem like a lifetime. We don't know, right? Because time is non-existent in the non-physical realm, or when we're detached from our time-space perception. So this theory said that we all died, and we're now in this space where these creations and dreamlike states come together, and we're now basically building back this one consciousness. Now, this in itself, it sounds very far-fetched, right? But why this really even, kind of a light bulb went off in my head is because over the past, at least in my perception, over the last 8, 9, 10 years, maybe even a little more, but I'd say probably in that realm between 8 and 10 years, I noticed something increasingly. And this is, I'm going to describe to you my perception. My perception has been over the past decade or so that everything feels kind of more plastic to me, non-real, if you will. It feels sometimes weirdly off. Sometimes things that I perceived before that time period as being kind of set in stone are now different. A lot of people call this the Mandela effect, where you remember something completely different. And that's been happening to me, I think, even before I was consciously aware of the Mandela effect, before I even thought about these things really consciously. I thought this reality seems different. Celebrities that I remember having different names, looking differently, having different life stories, it all comes out as a very different thing. And it was like one area after the other that I examined appeared to be very different from my memory. Now you might say you changed. Yes, definitely I did change. But these are things that, at least in our perception, are measurable. I mean, we can today look at, with the technology that we have, we look at things that were recorded in a certain time period and preserved. And if the recording wasn't changed, it's supposed to be the exact same as it was. Yet we go through movies that we've watched 100 times, and we're lip syncing, and all of a sudden that person in the movie is saying something different. Or we're singing along to a song we heard 1,000,000 times, and all of a sudden the ending of the song is different. The words are different. And these are just things that when they happen once, you go, okay, that was me. Twice, maybe, but 10, 15, 100 times. And this has been happening over and over and over and over again, where my memory does not serve me well. Now, here's the weird thing. I happen to have a really, really, really great and detailed memory from about when I was a year old or so. So very, very early on. And things that I described to my parents today, they go, how do you know that? I said, I remember it. And they said, but this happened when you were a year old. So while I can't say my memory is 100% correct, because all of our memories are sometimes a little flawed, this is something that just stuck with me. Now, where does this thought lead me? Over the past years, something has been brought to our attention over and over again, namely the idea that we live in a simulation. And this is a challenging thought. But let's look at our current culture. Let's look at how we look at things, how we investigate things, how we research things. What we do is, almost all the time, before we try something out in real life, we create a simulation for it. We try it out. I mean, if you have technical means, and if you are technically inclined, technologically inclined, you know a lot about computers, you create simulations for a lot of things. I mean, what do people do when they learn to fly? They don't jump into the Boeing 747 and they take off. No, they are sitting in the simulator, and the simulator is so real. It feels so real. It sounds so real. It vibrates, it shakes, the G-forces, the sounds, the instruments, everything is so real that people say over and over again, I forgot I was in a simulator. So we do this, right? The more technology that we have, the more we simulate things. And now with augmented and virtual reality, you can literally go into states with this technology where it's hard to distinguish between our perceived reality here and the virtual reality. So the idea that simulations are possible, I mean, that's not an idea, that's a reality. But the idea that we could be in a simulation is not as far-fetched as it sounds. And for me, it's important because it stretches my mind, it stretches my ability to think, and it also expands my consciousness. Because in order to contemplate these ideas and to reflect on these ideas, I have to allow myself to leave aside all biases that I have, all faith-based and spiritually based biases, and I have to accept the possibility that we do live in a simulation, besides the one that we're already talking about, which we call the matrix, which is a system. But what if even what's outside of this perceived system is not a prime reality? And what would be a prime reality? So basically, the idea is there is a prime reality. There is a prime real reality that is the basis for all simulations. And the idea is that we're not living in that prime reality now. Now, what might be the reason to simulate something? Well, we do it to research. We just said that, right? We do it in science. We do it in entertainment. We do it in medicine. We do it in everywhere. We simulate things. But what would be the reason to simulate a whole reality? Now let's look at this, and let's take time as something that has importance in this view. It could be that the prime reality, the real reality, is in the past, our perceived past, and that what we said is we're going to simulate the future by creating a simulation and by creating a set of conditions that is just like our prime reality, and we're going to let it play out in the simulation to see what will happen if we continue doing this or if we continue doing that. And then you would run one simulation that goes this path and run one simulation that goes that path. And basically, what we are in that scenario is avatars, right? We're like avatars in the simulation, experiencing it as real. Now, there also could be the idea that the prime reality is now, not this, but now, in terms of simultaneously happening. And in this prime reality, we're in deep trouble. We might be facing a natural change that is so monumental that we don't know how to survive. It might be that we are facing a nuclear war, or it might be that we're facing a threat from a different civilization. Whatever the threat might be, there might be a threat and we don't have a solution for it. So we run simulations, computer generated simulations, to figure out what path might lead us to a peaceful and survival solution. That to me is plausible. If we had the technology, we would do it, because that's what military does anyways. I mean, what are war games? War games are simulations where one country's military plays out a scenario, let's say America versus China or Russia, and they'll play out that scenario over and over again and try different tactics and see what would lead to success. That's a simulation that's happening. So this would be a computer generated simulation that would look at options as to how we could survive a potential nuclear or natural disaster or an outer space threat, something like that, or different civilization. There could also be the possibility that this is an ancestor simulation where we are far, far, far more advanced, but we're looking back and creating simulations to understand our history better, or to see if a different path could have developed for civilization, for humanity. As you can see, you can stretch your mind as far as you want to. The reason why this is kind of plausible is because we are doing it within this reality all the time. And the more we can do, the more we do, which is which is the crap that we believe is happening, because just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. But that's our curiosity problem. We constantly mess with things we shouldn't mess just because we can. And we don't do it in a conscious way. And if you look at the movies that have discussed this, of course, Matrix comes to mind. And if you haven't seen it, I just encourage you, go watch The Matrix, the first one.
Especially the first one.
Especially. And if you just watch one, just watch the first one. They all, it's basically where you will have the most goosebumps moments, and you'll have these, oh my God, synchronistic deja vu kind of things happening, definitely. And then there's also the Truman Show, and this is where I want to get to a point here. The Truman Show really, for me, portrays maybe even better, why it is important to explore these options. Because if we are in a simulation, I mean, my natural first intuitive goal would be, how do I get out of it? How do I bring this avatar back to my prime reality, which we could call higher self, which we could call, our greater consciousness. But in the Truman Show, Jim Carrey movie, Jim Carrey is born into an artificial world. So there was a TV producer that came up with the Big Brother idea, the Truman Show, where he created a whole town with a whole in a huge studio, fake sky, fake ocean, fake sun, fake weather, fake everything, and they put a newborn into that world with actors all around him. His family were actors, his wife, friends, everyone were actors, and it was a TV show. Only Truman, the protagonist in a TV show, had no idea that he was in a TV show. However, as he grew older, consciousness, his own consciousness, began questioning the reality around him. It just didn't feel right or real or true or authentic to him. And he kept fighting the narrative around him. This fake town kept trying to put him in this fake reality, and he felt an inner desire to push out of it and to explore, and something just didn't sit right with him. Something just felt off. And eventually he overcame his fears. Eventually, he overcame his limitations. He overcame his comfort zone. And he went onto the fake ocean, and there was a huge storm. The storm was fake to keep him in and whatnot. But he kept going until his boat hit the fake wall of the horizon. And when it hit the wall, he realized it wasn't real after all. And he found a set of stairs, and he exited the studio, the fake reality, the simulation. How does that translate into our world? If we are living in a simulation, it's for a reason. I believe the simulation is over when consciousness recognizes itself and its conditions. So what that means is, if we can explore ourselves enough and expand our consciousness enough, we eventually realize we have created a simulation for ourselves. We can exit it and go into the prime reality. Maybe this was created because we were so degenerated and so dangerous for the prime reality that we had to be put into a simulated reality. Really, I don't know, but I am willing to explore these questions. Now, all of these things do not deny, for me, in my view, the existence of a prime creator, of God, of the great mystery, the great spirit. As a matter of fact, this to me brings me even closer to that. I'm not saying God created these simulations. I'm just saying that we might have had or will have in the future the technological capability to do that. Good, bad, or indifferent towards the technology itself, we need to explore this option because our world is going batshit crazy. Every day, in so many ways, it's almost impossible to wrap my mind around the stupidity and craziness that's happening around the world. Nothing makes sense anymore. Nobody has common sense anymore. Morality, ethics, all those things are kind of going out the window. But at the same time, I also experience the deepest connections with other expanded versions of consciousness, with other people that are that are really expanding their consciousness, that are so broad and so beautiful and so deep that it makes me think that A, we are in a simulation, but B, you and I and all of us in this beautiful community that is constantly growing, we're actually making our exit. We're making our neo move. We're red pilling. We are red pilling ourselves. We are awakening. We are exiting. And hence, it is not a one-time deal. It is like a awakening from the slumber, and slowly but surely everything becomes clearer and clearer and clearer again. So to me, we don't have to die to return to prime reality. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think we need to kill this physical body to return to prime reality. I believe we can do it through consciousness alone. And perhaps we are doing it in our dreams and meditations. Perhaps that's where we enter prime reality. Now, the whole simulation idea is not new at all. Think of, in all the religions, there is a reality realm, a physical reality. There's a non-physical reality. Then there's the Maya, the great illusion. But if there's an illusion, there has to be a reality. If there's an illusion, there also has to be a reality. So if this is the illusion, maybe it's the simulation. Maybe it's just wordplay here. Basically, every culture has that. Basically, every religion and belief system has that. It's just been dogmatized. It's been put in a box for you and for me. And so I encourage all of us, you, me, and everyone, to jump out of that box and throw yourself into the universal ocean of consciousness and see what is being brought to you. Because chances are that we can only transform what is happening around us by expanding our consciousness far enough to grasp who we really are, what we really are, where we really come from, what our purpose really is. And so I'm telling you, I have no definitive answer, and I don't expect to have it anytime soon. What I'm saying is this very well might be one simulation, and we very well might be surfing between simulations, between dimensions, as we call them. And so a lot of times that's what might cause the weird dissonance in memories that we have. Because what if the memory that we have is actually from a similar parallel simulation or dimension? What if we carry that memory back and forth and we just confuse where it belongs to? I know this is mind boggling. I know this might hurt your brain because it hurts mine sometimes to go this deep. But as I'm telling you, all of life's good things and really amazing, that's our word creation. It's a mixture of tremendous and amazing. Happened by accident, by the way. But all of life's amazing, tremendous things are happening kind of for us when we allow ourselves to go one level further out and maybe 10 levels at a time sometimes. So there's not a definitive conclusion to this live stream other than allow your mind to be blown, allow your spirit to vibrate, see if there's something in there for you, see if something feels right. Because if you think about the Matrix, if you think about Neo, we could all feel the unimaginable desire to find out what truth is. And that's why, if I look at this world, it's telling you over and over and over again, don't look for the truth. Trust the TV. Trust the politicians. Trust the science. Don't look for the truth yourself. And if the world tells me not to do something, especially with a collective voice, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'll continue to look for the truth. And we won't give up ever. We won't ever give up. And we won't settle for something that feels good. We're going for the truth. Maybe the truth won't be something that feels good. But knowing that we have never given up before we found it will make us feel good. So that's where we're going to go. Again, this is a mind game. This is also a spirit game, but it's something we encourage you to do for yourself. Go around, and I'll leave you with one more thought, a memory from my early childhood. I didn't know I was doing what I was doing. I just knew, and it usually happened weirdly enough on a Sunday night. I hated Sunday nights because the weekend, Saturday, Sunday was kind of the fun time, and then the week began, and everyone was gone again. Everyone was busy again. So Sunday nights, not so much. But I had an escape route for Sunday nights when I was laying in bed as a kid. Before I fell asleep, and again, I didn't know what I was doing. I imagined, what would nothingness feel like? What would it be like if there was nothing? No bed, no house, no country, no world, no space, no nothing, just nothing. And I didn't know where that question came from, but I kept asking myself, what does nothingness feel like? What would it look like? What would it look like if there was nothing? And then eventually, at some point, I felt a feeling like I was falling and never stopped falling. And later, when I began practicing meditation, I experienced that feeling again, and I realized that's what I was doing as a child, not knowing I was doing it. It was just something I was guided to do from a place deep within. And in that nothingness, I felt everything. And that's the paradox here. So going into the nothingness, I felt everything. And I wonder if that's the key. If we go so deep, maybe through that, we can exit this matrix and come back to our prime reality. Truth is, I don't know. I'm just sharing with you what I have been exploring. All right, tribe. Thank you for joining me on this mind-bending journey today. Also, I think, honey, 2 slots. Is that what we have?
Mm-hmm.
I think we got 2 slots left for the Yada retreat. 2 people had to back out because of, I think, travel restrictions. But good news, if you are one of the 2 or one of more than 2 who feel inspired to join us for the Yada retreat from May 5th through May 8th in Cape San Blas, Florida, we're going to go deep into meditations, soul expanding, creator connecting experiences, and really getting to know the true, real you better. That's what we're going to do for 3.5, 4 days. So if you feel inspired to join us for this retreat, just send us an email to info@inspiredchannel.net and put Yato, Y-A-2-T-O, in the subject line, and we'll send you the information. Again, 2 slots are left. So and then we're going to close the registration for that. So again, from May 5th through May 8th, just send us an email to info@inspiredchannel.net and we'll send you all the information. All right, tribe, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us on Locals. Thank you for supporting us by purchasing in our merch store, by all the beautiful things that you do, by commenting, sending emails, sharing all the beautiful stuff. We love you guys. We'll be back here on Monday, 2 p.m. Central, right here on the Inspire channel. And until then, be blessed, be free, and be inquisitive. Just open your mind to all possibilities over the coming days. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.